Greetings, fellow men. Servus Männer. It's Red Bull Germany again, and today I want to make a quick video about the elections in the Netherlands yesterday, and I want to maybe mention some things that were not discussed that broadly yet. So as you all know, the elections in the Netherlands have been discussed in terms of will Geert Wilders, the nationalist, anti-Muslim, anti-Islam candidate, become the next Prime Minister of the Netherlands, or will the centrist party's head, Mark Rutte, stay in power? Now everyone is now saying that they're so happy that democracy won and Wilders was stopped, blah blah blah. Well, if you look at the results in a little bit more detail, you can say, yeah, I mean, Wilders could not become the strongest party with his Freedom Party, but then again, you have to see that he actually improved compared to the last elections, and the former coalition actually was demolished. I mean, the centrist party lost a couple of seats, but the Labour Party lost like 75% of their seats. This is drastic loss. They're demolished now. So maybe I should say now that the Netherlands are of course a country that doesn't just have two big parties and it's just the question who's gonna win the election, like Obama or Bush or Clinton or Trump or something. Yeah, Democrats, Republicans. That's not how the Dutch system works. It's also not how the German system works. Like we, for example, in Germany have two big parties, the Social Democrats, the Labour Party basically, and the Christian Conservatives, the conservative centrist party, which is now also a Social Democrat party anyway. And then there are some smaller parties like the Liberal Party, the Green Party, the Communist Party, and now the AFD, the more nationalist conservative party. And in the Netherlands there is even a bigger zoo of medium-sized or little parties. So there is the biggest party now, that is the People's Party for Freedom and Democracy, VVD. That is Mark Rutte's party. And after that there is already Geert Wilders' Freedom Party on place 2 actually, with 20 seats. And then actually there are two medium-sized parties that I really don't know a lot about. I think there are some centrist parties, maybe Social Democrats, something in the center, I guess. So I have to say I'm not a big insider on the Netherlands. I mean, they're our neighbors, so I read something about it. But I'm not a huge insider. So what struck me also as another point is that, well, as I said, the Labour Party was demolished, and I think that the other parties that gained here, pretty much on the centrist or left spectrum, they would probably have gotten votes from people who formerly were voting for the Labour Party. And I think that these medium parties got some votes here, but especially I would say the new leftist Green Party, Grön Links, they are probably the biggest winners here in terms of who got more of the former Labour Party's votes. And maybe they're more honest than the German Green Party, because the German Green Party is basically just a communist party with some environmentalist virtue signaling on the surface. And at least these people in the Netherlands, they call themselves Green Left, so they're green and left. And also their young charismatic leader looks like a skinnier clone of Justin Trudeau, really. So to me they look like, and I have to say I don't really know, but to me they look like a bunch of middle class academics or government workers, privileged people who are sheltered from having to live among immigrants. They're not working class, that's for sure, and they just want a virtue signal. They are the people who say refugees welcome here in Germany also. We have these people too. It's the same thing, but now they have their own strong party in the Dutch Parliament. Another thing also, maybe one thing that helped Mark Rutte to stay in power is actually quite surprising, the recent conflicts with Turkey. So the thing is that just like in Germany, a lot of Turks are living in the Netherlands, and the Turks, Erdogan, will have a referendum very soon on whether or not he will be basically the new Sultan of Turkey. So this referendum will basically be about giving him much more power. And for some reason, these Turks who live in the Netherlands and Germany cannot vote by just mail, like I do when I am abroad and there is an election in Germany. No. So they have to actually vote in our country somehow, and we set up actually voting booths for them in Germany for that purpose already. But of course, the politicians of the AKP, of the Turkish leading party, Erdogan's party, they want to campaign in the Netherlands and in Germany. And that, especially with us having a lot of Kurds here and a lot of Turkish people also who don't like Erdogan, it brings a lot of conflict into our country. And the conflict that they have in their country is not really like the conflict between our parties during election time, but it's kind of violent. And we don't want these foreign conflicts and these foreign wars on our territory. So they are guests in our country and they should behave like guests and not smash the living room of their host's house, right? So this is why we don't want them to campaign here, and this is why Erdogan is saying that we're all a bunch of evil Nazis, and his followers are actually rioting now in Europe. Especially in the Netherlands, there were some really harsh riots where they just attacked the police and attacked the people and became really violent, waving their red flags and basically having yet another Turkish chimp out in Europe. And also, I should say that not only are they acting like thugs on the streets, they are also sitting in parliament now. So in the Netherlands, there is a Turkish party now in parliament that is, I mean, they call themselves like the immigrant party, but all they are is basically Erdogan's little Dutch branch office. So congratulations, Netherlands, you now have Erdogan's party sitting in your parliament. So this party, by the way, also broke off from the Labour Party. So that's just how it always goes, I guess. You accept these people into your party, then they want to take over power, they're frustrated, and then they just break off, and then they want to take over your country. And of course, there are a lot of scandals already, like they are Armenian genocide deniers, for example, and they also want to introduce a register, like a sex offenders register, but not for sex offenders, but for people who do not show the necessary respect for migrants. So, like, it means if you speak your mind as a European, you get listed on some government list and then you don't get a job anymore or something. I don't know. It's just weird idiots basically. So but about Geert Wilders now, I really want to say that I really didn't expect that he would win, and the reason is that again, I'm not a Dutch person, I don't live there, I just read this and that in the news, but I have to say it seems to me that his party, first of all, is perceived more or less as a one-issue party, anti-Islam basically. And also, it looks more or less like a one-man show. So I don't know anything about other members of this party who have a strong competence, a strong background in an important field of politics. For example, national defense, or education, or science, research, or the economy, or foreign relations, something like that, right? So I think it is okay to have a big, strong leader, a prominent figurehead of a party maybe, but he also needs his colonels, his majors, his captains, his lieutenants, and they all need to have a strong background in something, and the people must trust these specialists then in their respective fields. Like you have one guy who's a lawyer and he's really competent when it comes to law, and people associate that with him, or another guy who's really for law and order, and people in their minds when they think of this guy they think, oh, this is Mr. Law and Order. If this guy is the Minister of the Interior, then our streets will be more safe. It doesn't need to be the top guy, but he needs to have his officers basically around him, his specialists, his team, and each of the members has to have a strong reputation in something. And this is what I like about the AfD in Germany, for example. They're not a one-man or one-woman show. I mean, some people say that Frauke Petri is very prominent there, yeah, but there are other people too, and especially in the state parliaments, and they have a YouTube channel, for example, and you can see there what great work and what great speeches they give in the local state parliaments. And there are many great people with PhDs or who are medical doctors or engineers or from any other walks of life actually. And so they're not a one-man show, and they have a broad spectrum of competence within their ranks. And I think this is what people expect, because you wouldn't want a one-man show party that basically talks about a single issue for 80% of the time. You wouldn't want them at the top actually, because a country has more than one issue to deal with. And I agree that immigration is probably the most important problem in Europe at the moment. But Donald Trump, for example, he didn't just talk about the wall to Mexico all the time. He also talked about trade, and he also talked about the industry that he wants to revive in the States, and he talked about security also, in addition to migration, of course. So he talked about a lot of things actually. And this is why he won, I guess, because he didn't just talk all day long about just one issue. But I in no way want to diminish the success of Geert Wilders. I mean, he improved his result of the previous election, and he thereby showed that the nationalist forces in the Netherlands, the immigration or Islam skeptical forces, are here to stay. They will influence the rest of the country with their voice in the parliament, and even the leading parties now, the centrist parties, they will have to listen to the criticism of the Freedom Party, and they will also not be able to live just in this filter bubble or in this echo chamber. You know, the parliament will not be an echo chamber in this way. There will be a corrective, and this is already something. So to sum up, I don't really think that Wilders and his Freedom Party lost, they improved. Then another really important result is that the Labour Party got demolished. Therefore, we got some centrist parties winning, and a Green Left Party, basically a communism with solar power and windmills party that was emerging, and also a long arm of Erdogan party managed to gain seats in the Dutch parliament. So this situation with these aggressive Turks is getting more and more out of hand in Germany also, because we also, of course, have a big Turkish population here in Germany. And I guess I will report more about this in the future. But for now, have a great day. Servus, Kameraden!